See this glass of water? This water represents your mind and what's going on in your mind. We start off with a clear mind, but then something happens. Something happens and somebody comes along and says, oh, you're not good enough. Then we get a clouded mind. Then they say, oh, you're not gonna make it. And we get another clouded mind. Then we hear some crap on the radio. A little more clouded mind. Then we get what? We watch something negative or bad that's happening on the news. And pretty soon, this gets so thick that you cannot think straight. You cannot see straight. You can't see clearly anymore. So what do we have to do? Like, how do we fix this? Well, we've got to take something good and pour it into our minds. We got to flush out the old stuff so we can stay clear and have a positive mind. And if we just keep pouring it in and keep pouring it in and keep pouring it in, we can't just put a little in. We can't watch one positive video and have our minds be clear. We can't read one inspirational or motivational book and have our minds be clear. No, we have to keep feeding our minds with positive things. And eventually, what happens? Eventually, we can see through it again. We have a clear mind. And we can see clearly the things that are happening in our lives. But then what happens? You get back in your truck, right? The news, if you're listening to the radio and the news comes on and it says something horrible's just happened. Well, now you got some poison back in your mind and you can't think clearly. And it makes you dumber because now you're in a negative state of mind. And what happens? Now you get in a fight with one of your coworkers, or one of your coworkers says something about you and you take it the wrong way. Or you're scrolling through Facebook. And what do you see? Destruction, chaos, possibilities of war. It's all this stuff. It's going to cloud your mind. Well, what do? We can sit around and worry about all that stuff. Of course, we want to take precautions. I'm not saying that none of this stuff is not real, but you're going to hear about it. And I'm not saying you want to be just completely blind to what's happening. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is you've still got to feed yourself with something positive too. You got to keep pouring positive stuff into your mind. You got to keep moving forward. You got to just don't stop. You can't stop. See how much positive stuff it takes to get rid of the junk that's in there? So just keep pouring. Keep pouring the positive stuff into your mind so you can keep your mind clear, so you can keep your mind free, so you can move towards the things that you want in life, so you can be positive. And that's what this episode's about. What's up, guys? Kelly McKay here, aka HVAC Millionaire, right here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave us a comment below. You know what we're talking about today. We're talking about PMA, positive mental attitude, and how to maintain one, despite what's happening in the world or in our lives. Because as soon as we let some of that stuff into our minds, it just clouds our judgment. And here's a list of the things that we lose when our judgment is clouded. Number one, we lack the ability to be consistent. We lack the ability to act professionally always. Because if you're in a negative state of mind, if you're letting your emotions just run rampant, then you're gonna say some stuff that you probably don't mean, and you're probably gonna behave in some ways that are not natural to your character. You lose the ability to push other people up because you gotta put your oxygen mask on first before you can help anybody else. You lose integrity. You might, do something that you normally wouldn't do. Once again, acting out of character. You might take a shortcut and not do the entire process or whatever it is that you're working on because you're just not in the right state of mind. You're probably not going to work as hard because you're too busy moaning and complaining about all the woes and troubles in your life. Instead of focusing, which you lose your focus when you don't think straight. You're gonna lose respect with your peers and your family if you're always in a negative state of mind. You can't see the future. Your vision is clouded and you may even feel at times like it's not even worth trying very hard because you have a hard time believing that it's even worth it. So you lose some of your belief. You can't stay persistent. You lose the ability to learn. And when you lose the ability to learn, the reason for that is when you're in a positive state of mind, you're actually 31% smarter than being in a negative state of mind. So you're actually dumber when you're pissed off, frustrated, fearful, worrisome, anxious. You lose the ability to think positively because out of the 70,000 thoughts that we have every day or more, up to 75-80% of those are negative already. So you already got some negative self-talk going on already. And then, like I said before in the demonstration, you've got the news coming at you. You've got Facebook coming at you. You've got all these different sources. You got, a disgruntled coworker. Maybe he woke up just on the wrong side of the wrong side of the bed today. But all this stuff is just it's poisoning your mind, and you're not going to think clearly. You definitely lose grit because you're not going to push through anything. You're not going to continue to go through any challenge or roadblock. You're going to shut down and quit because you're just not in the right frame of mind. And the biggest thing that you're gonna lose when you stay in a negative mindset all the time is time. And time is a precious resource. You're never gonna get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So what do we do when we're being bombarded by external sources, trying to, manipulate our minds and make us feel negative about ourselves or scared and live in fear? Well, we're already battling an internal battle, right? We've already got 70,000 thoughts a day and up to 75-80% of those are negative thoughts. So if that's the case, then how do we overcome that? Well, this is it. We got to take our medicine. Just as you would, exercise regularly or take a multivitamin. We've got to feed our minds with positive things. In order to overcome that and stay positive and focus on the future, and not lose all the things we just talked about, because you don't want to lose those things. And if you're not going to lose those things, we've got to take medicine. So you got to feed your mind. The next thing we got to do to get ourselves unstuck is to set a goal. So when we're setting a goal, number one, we got to follow some rules when we're setting goals. So number one is we got to be specific. It's got to be something measurable. You have to have it's got to be a fact. I hit my goal or I did not. It's got to be yes, I hit it, or no, I didn't. So in order to make a goal like that, it's got to be something that you can measure. Number two, what are you willing to give? If I decide I want to lose some weight, what am I willing to give? I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to give maybe my money to join a gym or to start taking some supplements or maybe eat healthier. You got to give something. There's no such thing as something for nothing. You've got to give something. Number three, you got to set a date. It's got to be time bound. You got to say, by this date, I'm going to have this thing. Number four, you got to take some action steps. So you need to write those out. What's one little step that you could take? What's the first step? What's the second step? And maybe you don't see the third or fourth step, but once you get the first and second step done, then just like headlights in the dark, you see that much further. So take the first step that you know that you can take today. Number five, you gotta write a statement. Write a statement about what you're doing, where you're going, how you're gonna get there, when it's gonna be accomplished by, and then read that twice a day. Stop making excuses and just ask yourself this question: how bad do you really want it? Because if it's bad enough, then you need to start taking action. And that one step is gonna help you build momentum. And when you build momentum, then the next step becomes clear and you know what you need to do. So whatever it is that you wanna do or need to do, or haven't had the courage to do, take massive action, get it done, and you're gonna feel better for it. You're going to unstuck yourself, like get yourself unstuck and move forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope none of you guys are feeling stuck after that cold snap we just had. But if for some reason you get in a rut here in the next month when the weather starts becoming mild again, watch this video multiple times. do what I explained to do. Like, take action, write down those goals, figure it out, and start moving forward. Because if there's one thing I know, if you could just keep moving forward, then it keeps you from staying stuck in that negative mindset, because nothing good happens from that place. So keep moving forward, guys. Talk soon. Go make money. Boom.